Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Patrick Era, and today I have a special guest with me. This right here is Bones. Bones was a contestant on season 19 of Project Runway. He grew up in Virginia and he studied at the Virginia School of Arts. He studied jazz, ballet, and modern dance.
Dang, girl, you did your homework. Word, Papa! Y'all get to school.
He went on to become a background dancer for the legends, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, J-Lo, just to name a few. He also was on the original cast of the Broadway show, The Illusionist. And he also lived abroad for a while before starting his brand, House of Bones, which he founded in 2019.
Work, Patra!
He then went on to compete on season 19 of Project Runway, which is where I was introduced to him. So today we're going to talk to him to see how he did all this that he did. So just walk us through the process of like how you went from background dancing to designing to Project Runway.
Wow, first of all, like I said, y'all got the scoop because Pasha did her due diligence on the work. But yeah, like getting into design was like always something that I knew that I wanted to do. My grandmother was a seamstress growing up, so I would always like see her, you know, making like crazy, gaudy, like Southern fashion for people. And she had a store like in the downtown area, like very small little boutique, but still people like loved it. They loved like coming in and getting like custom things or getting like a church dress and then getting it customized to their shape and then buying the hat to go with it. So it was always around me. So I was like, can I teach me? And for my 16th Christmas, she bought me a sewing machine and was just like, teach yourself. And so I went on YouTube and just like started learning as much as I could. Fucked up a lot of fabric, you know. And you know, did what I had to do to learn how to build pieces, to make patterns, to put in zippers, like all these small things like darting, all that. So that was always on that side, but I also knew that the physical body of dance had like a little bit of expiration date on it. Like I couldn't do that forever. So I trained at the Virginia School of the Arts, came up here and went to the Ailey School. After Ailey, I started training at Broadway Dance Center, and then I started doing like some other like little programs for commercial dance. That led me to the Icons, and very thankful for that. My first was Crystal Waters. If y'all don't know who Crystal Waters is, go do your homework on that. What? 100%? Pure, this way you cut the clip and put the music video. Very much, this is for your homework. Yeah, Crystal Waters, 100%, Gypsy Woman, like, you know the song if you heard it. Your mom has definitely played the song. So yeah, I did that, and I kind of just like got fed up with the hustle and bustle of being a background dancer and just like being a background dancer. I knew that I wasn't built to just like always be behind somebody else. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna put full force into the brand and make it a thing. And so before it was House of Bones, it was Boneless Bones. And so I went to Paris with this like name, and like I was like, yes, this is it, this is great. And as I was just like venturing and like finding more myself, it's like Boneless Bones actually sounds kind of like a yo, we up here in Harlem in the alley, so if you hear somebody else, I bet it ain't me. Right, it's a little background noise. So yeah, I just knew like, I was like, okay, Boneless Bones, isn't it? It sounds like kind of spineless and like no structure. So I just like kept thinking and, you know, drawing shapes and stuff. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. House of Bones, like that feels right. And then I was thinking about like ballroom and like, you know, just like the upbringing that I had once I moved to New York. And yeah, once that came in my mind, I was just like, okay, I think I'm ready to go back to the state. Well, actually, it wasn't that. It was like creating a business in Paris and trying to become a citizen was way too hard.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I gotta go back to the States and try this, like where I can actually get some footing. So I went to LA and I was there for about 1.5 years. Got somewhere, but it was just like still not the right fit. So I knew I had to come back to the city to get the convenience that I needed. And once I stepped foot back into the city, it was just like all fashion. And I didn't do anything else. I dropped painting, dancing, like literally it was just like I'm only doing fashion. I was staying with some friends in Brooklyn, ended up getting a sublet in the Bronx, and somebody sent me Project Runway audition, and I'm reading it, and I get down to the bottom and it says like the delivery date, the due date was like the next day. So I literally got on the camera, went on TikTok and just like mashed up an audition video, and by the next morning I had a phone call in my inbox and was just like, all right, I guess we doing this.
Oh my goodness.
And so that, yeah, like 2 years passed by, and then because that's when COVID also hit and things were going down with that. So yeah, after COVID, then we started filming, and
I love that. That is amazing. I feel like it was like meant for you.
Yeah,
to have that opportunity.
It felt natural, you know, like I grew up watching Project Runway. I watched like, well, the first like 4 or 5 seasons. Kara-san and Christian Sirian, like all those older people, but yeah, it was always something I knew, like, yeah, I want to do this, but it kind of like got distant, and then I didn't really think about it much, and I was like, oh, this could kind of make sense, let me just do it. And then when it happened, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, we here.
Right. Yeah. It's like you kind of manifested it.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
But like unconsciously.
Very much.
For me, I loved you from the first episode because the first episode, you were the team captain. If y'all haven't seen season 19 of Project Runway, I highly recommend that you check it out. Bones was the team captain of the first episode. So you won the first challenge. Not only did you win the first challenge, you designed your own design, and you also helped your teammate come up with the design. Well, you designed that dress.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
For him. And it was stunning. And it was like, how many minutes was left? Like,
it was literally like
30?
Like 30 minutes left.
And you literally whipped up a dress for him, and they loved that dress along with you.
I kind of loved it more than mine. I was like, dang, that should have won.
Dress honestly. Came. I love that dress.
Yeah, it came through.
I loved both of the outfits though. Like, I loved the one that you put together. It was like a 2-piece gold set for your model, and then the dress. So you ended up winning. How did you feel though, like in the moment, like knowing that you had to, because you kind of just picked that up and was like, no, get back in here, because he was on a smoke break.
Patra, I just remembered too, we weren't supposed to take anything from Project Runway, but I actually have my dress.
Wait, let me see. This is amazing. Oh my goodness, what is this? This isn't silk, is it?
Yeah, silk satin. Well, silk, but like a light satin in it.
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
I said, I'll take it.
Honestly, go ahead.
I'll take it.
I wouldn't be mad, actually.
It's really cute.
Yeah, go ahead, style it up.
Okay, that's what I'll style it. I'm not playing with
That's
you.
gonna be in the next video.
Right.
We come back to.
I'm not playing with you. But yeah, how did you feel? Like, I know you were the captain, so I feel like you probably already felt like you had more responsibility for your team to make sure y'all won.
Yeah. It's crazy to be in like a pressure cooker environment like that, and it being the first time, and it's everyone's first impression. You know, there's a lot like riding on it that you don't really expect when you jump into it. But I like leadership roles. I like seeing a team like come together, and like, you know, seeing what everyone's strong points are and how we can enhance those things. So I wasn't really like taken back by the leadership position, but it's the other things that come with that on TV in front of people, and it's like all those things that you're like, oh shoot, like you know, everybody's watching.
Yeah, so it's even more pressure.
Yeah, and it's more pressure. So that aspect was just like, yeah, this is maybe a little bit more than I expected, but the aspect of like leadership, I was definitely okay with that. And there was a little bit of a debacle on there if I was like supposed to be the leader or not or something. I can't remember how it went, but yeah, I had a good time. You know? Yeah.
And I will say another thing that I wanted to ask you about, because another thing that I loved about you was your confidence. From like the very first episode, I remember when Christian came into so now you know I was gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
When Christian came into the room and he was trying to give you guys pointers on like what to change and you know, and you were like, I'm not taking that advice, don't listen to him. Like, y'all better do what y'all want to do, stick to what you had, and don't listen to nobody's advice because it's gonna mess us up essentially. So that confidence I thought was amazing, and I love that. And I noticed how other people were a little bit more like, I don't like that, I'm not really into that, like we need to listen to him. Where did you get that? Like, have you always been very confident, or like where does that come from?
I mean, from the South, again, like I grew up in a very like majority white community. So I really learned how to communicate. I really learned how to properly communicate. And get my point across without being, you know, seen any type of way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there was that aspect of it there. But I feel like the confidence really just was like, that's been a journey, honestly. From entertainment business and dancing behind people and like being told no this many times and you have a yes here and then 1,000 more no's, and then you kind of just like naturally have to start building some sort of a like confidence or not defense mechanism, but just a way to carry yourself, because like the industry will just like continuously knock you down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it came from that, and also like I have a lot of strong people in my family. I have a huge family. My mom has 7 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh wow.
And so there's a lot of energy in the room. And if you don't know how to carry your own, it is like, you're swept up, you know. And so there's like 27 first cousins, you know. So it's like when we all get together, it's like you gotta know how to come back at this joke and this one and this punch, and you know, like there's all that involved. So I think the confidence was like a culmination of things like upbringing, New York, experiences, all those things, downfalls.
I just really admire that, because I feel like, especially in fashion, sometimes it is hard to stick up for yourself when, you know, you're in an industry that's so used to like a internship and you're just going to get the coffee. Like, you know, people are so used to just being told what to do in fashion rather than like kind of taking the lead and being like, no, this is how I'm gonna work, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. Yeah. And if you do, then
and there's another brand for you to like.
Yeah.
You know, there's another design for you to like, you know. And that was one of the main things with my group, and the way it was kind of shown on TV was not actually how it went.
Okay.
I don't even, whatever. So we had a lineup of like, we had a story of how we wanted to tell, you know, the pieces. And as soon as Christian came, I think the way it went, like when Christian came in, he was trying to get us to put the colors in order. And I was like, no. Like, it was about the order, not about our designs and how the designs look.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was about,
so it was an edit.
Yeah, it was an editing thing that made it look like, you know, I was like, no, we don't want your
opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was like, we don't want your opinion when it comes to our storytelling, not like when it comes to design and whatnot. So That's how that got flipped a little bit, but you know, we still handled it with grace.
Very much so. I think either way, I was a fan.
Yeah. Everybody was here for that drama the first episode.
I love it.
My inbox was like going hot. Like, you just told Christian, oh, what is your problem? I was like, y'all just chill. Everybody chill.
I said, no, guys, I love it.
Even me, I was like kind of shocked when it came out. I was like, oh wow.
Like you watched it back.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your grandmother gave you your first sewing machine at 16, and you talk about your family. So like, how did that inspire your love for fashion? Like your grandmother, or like was it her giving you the sewing machine, or you just watching her with her boutique?
I think like, yeah, my family comes from a very, like, I have a very Christian family. That they went to church every Sunday, and like it's like the whole 9 yards. My grandma was a pastor, and like whole 9 yards. So literally just being in church, you see all the fashion in the world.
Of course.
Like in a Southern church, you see all the fashion you could ever want.
Yeah.
Like from the hats to the shoes to the outfits to the ties, like they're putting it together. Yeah. Like I don't care what you say, the people in the church are putting it together. The jewelry is like they come in church like that, and I kid you not, like they're holding rocks on their hands like pins in the hats. I'm like, wow, like I was first inspired by that, like just seeing so much color and like daringness in a, it's so interesting because it's so daring in such a what's the word I'm looking for?
Like conservative?
Conservative environment, you know, like a very conservative environment, but the things are so bold. And I thought that was just like the craziest juxtaposition of just like how we arrive to fashion still in a conservative or like a bit of a locked in kind of way. So yeah, it started there. And yeah, obviously like watching my grandmother, she would make us stuff all the time. So I was going to school with like a new like cool denim hat or something, you know, like something interesting. So yeah, the Southern church, my grandma, watching Project Runway growing up, all those things kind of like were combined into I think like where my fashion desires started.
I love that. I feel like I grew up in North Carolina and I also went to church, but I feel like you were very observant because for me, I never really, like I love fashion,
you didn't
but
get into
I was
it?
Never, like of course I noticed the women, but I was always like, oh, like thinking about the drama that was going on in the church.
Because there's the drama too.
I was always thinking about that, but like the way that you explain it, that is so true. Like they're coming in these really glamorous outfits, showing up and showing out.
Showing up for Jesus. Like really showing up for Jesus.
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it was just like so wild, and like, you know, I went to a non-denominational church for the longest time, and then we switched to another church, and like they wore like doilies on their head, and I was just like, whoa, this is a whole different genre of like, you know, I was like, wow, we got levels to this. There's levels to the fashion in church. And the way you dress also is like, there's a crazy hierarchy in it.
There is,
you know,
like where you sit,
where you, and then you see it, and it's like, whoa, all the nurses and the clergy is like over here in the white, and the deacons in their blue ties, and it's like and the people up top. It's crazy. So like I saw all that, and I was just like, whoa, like this is wild. And then I remember specifically, Top Model did like that episode where they had like the fashion show in the church.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my god, so everybody else sees it too. This is crazy. This is crazy. And so I was like, yeah, fashion. It's fashion. It's fashion.
I love that.
Yeah.
Clearly you dance. You're kind of like a multifaceted artist or creative. Like you like dance, you love music, I'm sure, and fashion as well. So what is your process in terms of like creating? Do you have a process?
My process, I feel like my process changes so much. And it depends on like what it is that I'm doing.
Okay.
I do like to think of concepts, but I also like to feel like what I'm working with and like what those things are like. And I will say that during Project Runway is a space where I really got to like dive into how that works, because we would, you know, sketch and then you go to mood, but you're running around mood. Like you're running through there.
Yeah, right.
And you're not really, you're thinking about your design, but you're really just like, I need a fabric that I can work with and I can feel good with. So that was an interesting spot, like sketching something, then trying to find the fabrics to go with that sketch, but then sometimes they wouldn't work out, so you have to like rework, you know, what the thought process is behind the piece. So yeah, I feel like my process changes so much. Like I'm inspired by different things, so I could make something like that dress I'm making now. Like it was gonna be a full dress, but I'm like, this is weird. So let's chop it up and make it like a cool skirt or something, and like.
So it could be like very in the moment.
Yeah, it can feel very in the moment sometimes. I don't like to like force too much. I love like freeform draping and things like that. So I would definitely say draping more than pattern making is like my favorite. Like if I could drape everything and make it perfect, that's what I'll do before I like make a pattern and, you know. Still learn how to make your patterns, but you don't need them all the time.
Do you think about movement when you create, because you are a dancer?
100%.
Okay.
100,000%.
Yeah.
Like I want to see the clothes move. Like
the
clothes have to move, and even if they aren't built to move, there should be something that when you're walking, it's like, if it's stiff as hell, but when you're walking, those things are like, you know, you see it. So I love movement in clothing. I love the like small, like crazy details in clothing. And that gets to like, you know, when you do like port de bras in ballet or like in a dance class, it's like when you're using your arms, right?
Right. Okay.
So I think about that a lot, is like the extremities and what those are doing and how it translates to, you know, different things. And fringe is my favorite go-to.
I'm like, I can see that.
You know, like
movement.
Yeah, some movement.
Very much movement. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your brand, House of Bones. So you said at first it was Boneless Bones, and then you changed it to House of Bones. So like, what is the story behind your brand? And like, have you seen a difference from before Project Runway to now in terms of growth for your brand?
There's definitely been a difference in the growth of the brand. I'm not selling out like nothing crazy right now, but I am like selling consistently, and that feels nice. It feels nice to be able to do my craft and do what I want to do to make my living. As to where before it was like I was having to do like 5 or 6 different things in order to like catch up with rent or like bills and, you know, all that stuff. So that part feels really great, and that it was beneficial in that way. I definitely see a switch in the DNA of the brand too. Like after Project Runway, I feel like I became a little bit more clear in just like what I want to present and say to the world. And that sometimes varies, because like my needs as a person also vary on a day-to-day basis. So like what I want to wear or what I want to feel like may vary, and that's what House of Bones is about. The flexibility in structure. And you know, within a house, you can go to the kitchen, you can go to the bathroom, you can go to the bedroom, you can go to the den, you can go to the basement, you can go to the attic. There's different places that you go to get your different needs. And so that's how I feel my brand is. You go, and there's more stuff that I want to introduce, but that's after the fashion kind of gets you know, going. It's the most like tangible thing right now. So yeah, once that gets going, House of Bones in its entirety will make more sense, because you'll see different things that will.
That makes sense, because I was looking at your website and I
don't look at the website. I don't know why she did that.
I needed to see what
Don't look at the website. I don't know why she went ahead and did that. You asked me how the brand was doing, not how my www was doing. Not the World Wide Web.
I needed to see what was going on.
Nothing.
I needed to see what the Instagram.
Nothing. Absolutely, Nathan.
But you have unisex, right?
Yeah.
So like you do
There's some stuff. There's some stuff we just need a little bit of work, you know. We working in the fabrics right now. We not online right now. We just putting the pictures up, putting the prices up.
So y'all come back.
Come back in about a month or two.
Yeah.
You know, give me to the end of summer. Spring, summer.
That'll be the collection.
Spring, summer, and joggers.
Okay. So we ain't gonna mention that. So let's go past that.
Go ahead, ask your question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, ask your question.
I was gonna say that I didn't know this.
Empty pictures, blank text boxes. Is that what you noticed? Okay.
I noticed that you have different things. So when you said like, you know, a house has a kitchen, it has different rooms in it, I can see that because you have like the thongs, you have like the jewelry, you have dresses. So I'm glad that you explained that to me because I kind of wanted to know just like the story behind like your brand.
Yeah, and I think too, like when it comes to what I want to put up on the site, because I also was thinking like, oh, I gotta put like a full collection, especially after Project Runway, people are gonna be, and people are like, yeah, you need to put a thing, and I'm like, actually, everybody shut up. What do I like? I like jewelry, I like underwear, and I like pieces that make me feel good, and so it's like that's what I'm gonna put on the site, or up for sale, and. You know, people are always asking like what the demographic of the brand is, and I always tell them it's for everybody. I don't like bow out of a demographic because I don't. Yeah, that's weird to be like, oh, this person isn't gonna wear it. No, they very much will wear it. You know.
That's very like textbook format.
Yeah.
Like marketing, like you should have your target market and.
Yeah. And it is smart. Like it's smart to know who is buying more, but at the same time, it's like everybody can buy. When you're at your job, you see everyone shopping for everything. Yeah. You know, nobody just goes into a store anymore and just is like, oh, this is off limit. Yeah, well, maybe some things, but like generally speaking, people go and just shop, and so. I want to make sure that House of Bones has something for everybody. If it's not like a tight choker, it is a free-flowing dress that you could see a male in, you could see your mom in, and you could see your grandma wearing that. Right. You know, maybe if she just on the porch and she just chilling and she in her rocking chair, you can see your grandma wearing that on a summer's day. You know, so like I like to think about like the flexibility within the pieces for the brand, so that people also feel connected to the brand and not just like, oh, these are these like tight corsets that everybody, and I can't wear no corsets, so House of Bones ain't for me. No, that's not it. We got some other things, you know.
I love that. So you really have like, I feel like a great headspace in terms of your brand and your identity, because I also feel like that's kind of the current culture and fashion. Like no one really sticks to one thing anymore in terms of like having a set style. Like yes, you do have people who like more minimal things, but I feel like you can pick from any brand these days and find a piece for yourself. So I love that about your brand. All right, so this is kind of just like a personal thing that I wanted to ask you. Okay. Because I realized on your Instagram page you have like coordinates, like you put location coordinates. What is that about? Like what is that? Wow,
y'all, Patra is doing her big one for y'all. I want you to know that. Cause like my friends don't even ask me about that shit.
I didn't even know.
My friends don't even be asking me about that. Maybe they got a question, but they ain't ever asked.
I needed to know.
So, wow. Damn, we about to get deep. Okay, so, without getting too deep, I kind of came up with this this like equation for myself, and the equation kind of just was like a thing that I was realizing when I moved to Paris or when I moved to Europe, that just like you're still one person or you're still one entity, but you can exist and you exist in many places, and when you exist in those places, depending on what the time is, what the date is, again, like my needs may be different than they are yesterday or than they will be next week. So the coordinates is basically like time plus space equals perspective. And so there's some of the coordinates in it. So like the first couple of numbers are the coordinates, and then there's like the last part, which is the time in military time or in world time, and then there's the date within two of those numbers as well. So like there is a spot, there's a date and the time that I posted.
I love that. No, this is amazing. I'm like, your head.
That's so crazy.
Your mind. I did not even think it was that deep. I thought you would just like post like wherever you were at that time. Just, I don't know. I want to know the story behind it though. Yeah. But I love that. Okay.
Yeah, and so actually I'm gonna give that part. When the camera's off, I'm gonna give that part. I'm gonna give the next part.
So y'all can't get all of it.
We gotta save some, you know.
So the last question that I really wanted to just ask is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
You know, that's always a crazy question to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it has to be a very...
No, well, it's like, because we have these like ideas of where we're gonna be and like what we're gonna do, and I've done that so many times. And it's always like you get to that spot and you realize like, whoa, it's very different than how I expected it to be.
Yeah.
For my 30th birthday, I thought I was gonna be in Greece. I was sitting in the Bronx during COVID, locked in the house. You know, so 5 years at 25, I was like, I'm gonna be in Greece on the beach, traveling from boat to boat. You know, brand's gonna be doing well, like. In the studio for a loop. You know, so it's like you can never really like fully assess it, but I see you know, just more, like I see more things happening with community, how the brand is able to reach through different communities and expand. I see myself being able to kind of like not relinquish the full control of the brand, but just like being able to back up a little bit and start to do some other things as well. I do have endeavors of jumping back on TV again. So that's a thing that yeah, I'm like kind of working on, and yeah, I just see more. Like I'm always one to like be interested and be curious about like more adventure and learning more, and just whatever I can pack into the next 5 years. If I don't get hit by a bus, like I'm down. Like I'm down to do it.
We gonna say you don't get hit by a bus.
Well, you know, just again, anything can happen.
You're right. Yeah.
I got 2 knee surgeries in the past.
Really?
Like yeah. So actually, around the time when I met you, I had just gotten like the anchor from the second knee surgery like taken out of my knee. So that was a whole thing. It was like I didn't see 2 knee surgeries coming, and then I was literally sitting on the couch one day and like reached for a cup and like my knee like locked, and so it was like I was stuck. Like my knee was literally stuck in like a bent position, and I couldn't like open my knee. It was crazy.
Oh my goodness.
And so you just don't know. It's like that brought so much new perspective to my life. 2 knee surgeries, like literally like 3 months apart from each other. It was like relearning to walk twice in that amount of time was just like, whoa, this is crazy. You know, and so it feels like in the moment like, whoa, everything is done. I can't do anything. Like I can't even get up and go outside, you know. But yeah, it just teaches you more perspective and new things. So yeah, I see so much in the future. But I also try to see so little as well, and just let it kind of happen.
I'm like, you speak so poetically. Everything you say is like a poem.
Thank you.
I love that. All right, so I lied. That was the last question. The last question is, where can people find you?
You can find me at a few places. Instagram, there is xo.bones. Also for the brand, there's House O Bones, no F, HOUSEOBONES. If you want to get into BS, there's Country Boy City shit. Stuff that I don't want to post on my main page, I post over there. Yeah, and then the website, houseofbones.com. Again, check it at the end of the summer. You can go to it right now, but just go there and look for the choker. Don't look for no text or pretty photos. Just go for the item you want, and yeah, you'll find it.
Well, thank you
Of course.
for sitting with me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this interview. I hope that you were able to take something from it, which I'm sure you are because you dropped so many gems.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you and your time.
Of course.
All right. Well, I will see y'all in the next video.
Bye!
Peace.